Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. Hopefully, we are finally live this time. It looks like we are. Actually, feel a little rusty here. It's been a while since I had a
Hello there, my friends.
Whoa.
Chris Marcus here with you for
little
Arcadia
bit of
Economics.
feedback coming in there, but we will turn that down. I guess I was realizing as I was going live tonight that since I left Austin, Texas, and have been experiencing the internet scene in Mexico, which is, at least for me, been a little more art than science. I was really enjoying doing those live calls a while ago, which we were doing earlier this year, and kind of put them on hold. But we have a good internet connection here where we will be hosting SilverFest. I am live in Sayulita, Mexico. And fortunately, the pre-party actually has already begun in the online booth, and I will fire that link into the chat window here. Yara, Jim Forsyth, a few others are already in there, making some silvery friends in advance of SilverFest 2, which is beginning tomorrow morning, Thursday, October 28th, through Friday, October 30th. And I'm going to get that link in there now. There is the pre-party link. And I will also put in the link for the actual SilverFest event into the chat window as well. Looking forward to seeing many of you there. We had a really good time last year. And I think we're going to have a great time this year as well. It's been a little chaotic. I guess it's been a chaotic year. I guess for everyone, me in particular, leaving the U.S., really being blessed to experience a new way of life here in Mexico, which has been quite healing, life outside of the dollar. Also just seeing the degree to which how much of what I believed about life and the way I thought things worked and what we were supposed to do, and just noticing how much of that comes from the system that we were put in here in the United States. Obviously, they have different systems here in Mexico, but they have in the U.S. the financial system, which includes the ability for whoever is in power to come in there, rig the markets, go to war, do the same thing, never really answer the questions about that are left unanswered. We saw a couple of days ago, Joe Biden, or maybe yesterday, was saying that now they delayed the JFK file release for another year for the name of national security. I mean, that was 1963. So that's a couple of years ago. And in the end, these things come and go. Here we are. The country's falling apart. In fact, one of the things I've been stunned by is how different things are here in Mexico. It's a very peaceful way of life where on what would seem like impossibly small amounts of money to most Americans, you can eat, live. People are incredibly happy. Plus, they are living on the jackpot of all silver jackpots here in Mexico, the silver capital of the world. So they got that going for them too. And anyway, that's one of the themes that we will be touching on this year at SilverFest. Not that everybody needs to move to Mexico, but especially with the things that have been happening in silver this year. And I think many of you know I'm a fan of Cliff High, and I learned a lot from his podcast, and certainly was eye-opening when he was saying back in April that August, July, we would be seeing the evidence of the vaccine being the real concern here, and that becoming obvious enough that even mainstream people would be more and more unable to avoid it. You hear those "fuck Joe Biden" chants at the Let's Go Brandon rallies. And I guess I tried to avoid politics earlier on when I was doing this. Now, I don't know if that's politics. I don't think this is a Democrat or Republican. I think these are criminals. I think Bush's were criminals. I think Clinton's were criminals. I'm still confused about the whole Trump regime. But in the end, these are the household names. Now Biden is... I think he's sitting on Humpty Dumpty as it's going over the wall, which, back to silver, I think will ultimately be good news. And partly why I mentioned that about Cliff is I remember thinking, gee, if he's right, and that people are going to see that, whoa, this is really something, not what we were sold with government, what's going on, and that there was actually an intent to harm people with those vaccines, which I believe there was. And that, I believe Cliff has been right. That's becoming more obvious. I remember thinking, gee, that's going to be an awfully tricky act to keep silver manipulation going through. We have all these things with the budget. Now, keep in mind, even though they pushed the debt ceiling off till December, they moved it back 2 months. Of course, they didn't actually do anything about it. Or 1 month. No, 2 months, I guess. Of course, there's no resolution, and they're not even talking about a resolution now. Janet Yellen hasn't even started saying when she's going to commit accounting fraud again to push that off. There's no talks of doing anything. And even aside from that, there's also there's some reconciliation bill. I don't get the names of all these congressional budget things memorized, but there's something going on now where Joe Manchin continues to block Biden and Pelosi. And I mean, not that it's just those three, but there's clear some sort of fracture where they're not able to pass this budget. Because remember, Joe Biden, you keep seeing these articles. The original bill was for $3.5 trillion for their spending bill. Now they're talking about $1.5 to $2 trillion. And since we know the money already flew into the stock market, I would call that a tapering myself. But anyway, with that said, that's where I see things at this moment heading on into SilverFest. I'm going to post the pre-party link in the chat window again because that has begun. I'll stay on here and take some questions live with you tonight. But then head on over into HopIn where you can you can be on screen too. You do not have to be on screen when you go into HopIn. That's a platform software that we're using for SilverFest too, but I will be hopping in there as soon as I wrap up here. Yara and one of her friends are chatting on there. Jim Forsyth is in there. Do we have any other silver celebrities in the pre-party right now? Oh, wait.
I think they're on their way.
Here comes a silver celebrity. Yara, would you like to grab a chair and share some silvery thoughts as we head into a new SilverFest season? Here, let me help you with that. I'll be right back. You sit down in the center there. Actually,
hi, everyone.
Right there.
I'm a little bit Mexico sweaty, so it's nice to see you all. I hope wherever you are, we can send you a little bit of warmth and silvery love. And so grateful to get to be the host with Chris. This is going to be an awesome next 3 days, and we are pre-partying. So definitely click on the link and come join us after this live stream.
All righty. And who has a question out there? It could be for me or Yara, or maybe somebody in the audience, but I see Yara, you slide over that way a little bit. We have one from John W. Chris, wish I could be at SilverFest. Well, you can attend online, John, even if you can't make it to Mexico. Question for you, with the market being so manipulated, can't they continue to manipulate indefinitely so long as physical supply doesn't pass a breaking point? That reminds me of the way I heard somebody describe Jeff Christian saying he was giggling at Jeff, saying that Jeff says the market is manipulated. They just know they could get the price lower if they hammer futures contracts when the liquidity is thinnest. So I don't think it can go on indefinitely. I mean, essentially what you mentioned there, the break point when they run out of metal. I think that's been happening in slow motion since February. I think 5 years from now, we might look at that as maybe like the play that momentum changed in the Super Bowl, where that's where it really turned and they put the nail in the coffin. There was still time to be played out. I know it doesn't feel like that to many people. I'm just sharing that's my opinion, yet the reason that I do look and follow the politics, which never was something I was interested in early on, but essentially when you see the crime, and then that's why I left Wall Street, and then I spent this last 10 years double checking my math, talking to everyone on the planet, seeing, is there something I could be missing here? Is there some other way? And then you hear what Bart Chilton says, you hear what all the other guys that we've seen on the show say. And then you hear Ross Benham talk about tamping down the market. Then you hear the CFTC go out of their way to avoid commenting on any of that. And it's like, I guess it it's a lot of these things tie together, or they're all these similar pyramids where they're obvious, blatant questions, and you keep asking, and it always the guy at the top never seems to be there. It's like the Wizard of Oz, whether it's George Bush and Dick Cheney on September 11th, or weapons of mass destruction that we found out later they lied about and they knew they didn't exist. They went and committed a genocide anyway. I think there's a reason why they don't answer these things. And yes, it's gone on for an incredibly long time. Although at some point, things change. We'll see the exact day and time, although it feels to me when you have people chanting "fuck Joe Biden," not once or twice, but now it's a national chant. But if it is indeed the case that Anthony Fauci was researching specifically how to create one of these viruses years earlier, if it was indeed the case that Bill and Gates, Johns Hopkins, and many of these people, I think it was Agenda 21, were running simulations of what would happen if there was a coronavirus pandemic months before the thing occurred. I mean, when you start seeing all these data points, most people don't know, but I think if this vaccine really was intentionally designed as a means to harm people, and there are these type of names behind it, which given the Bush and Clinton family track record would not be by any means the most shocking thing to me. I think that's the kind of thing that leaves an empire close to breaking. So hopefully that answers that one. Chris, question on the retail side, what denomination of weight trades the highest volume? That's a tricky question. I mean, possibly the 1,000-ounce bars in a sense, just because that. Well, actually, no, those would be the lowest. I was going to say that's what's traded on the COMEX, but it would be 1,000-ounce paper contracts. So definitely not that one. Yara, you've handled the orders that we do for Miles Franklin. From what you've seen, any thoughts? I would imagine it's probably individual coins are what are purchased the most, but what would you say on that?
On the retail side, I would say it's definitely 1 ounce coins, and probably 1 ounce sovereign coins to be more specific. So things from the sovereign mints definitely sell more than the rounds, which don't have face values on them and aren't from one of the 6 sovereign mints. But that's pretty much what people ask about price-wise and premium-wise the most. They also do carry a higher premium in general than any of the other regular coins, not some of the numismatics and the cool like silver art coins that we like, but I'd say it's always the 1 ounce sovereign coins that are my top sellers every month. It doesn't matter if they're more expensive. That's what people want.
Well,
'cause that's relative, right?
Although that is a fluid situation, obviously now that Silver Chopper Ben is flying in here, do we know, what's the update?
Silver Chopper Ben is stuck at the border due to some import tariff issues, but we are hoping to have him in hand. We actually have 2 of them, a smaller one like Poquito, like me, and a grande a la Chris. So hopefully we'll have those in our hands sometimes that we can show you during SilverFest, but as of this point, they're in limbo.
All right. Well, we will look forward to getting Chopper Ben here soon. I have not actually held him yet, but looking forward to that. And someone did email asking if Silver Chopper B will be available for Christmas. I don't know how many of them will be. They're handcrafted by our Silver Maven up in Vancouver, so there will be some available. And one of the things that I'm excited to discuss at SilverFest is really a combination of the Arcadia barter post plus the Arcadia silver exchange, which I think will, if it goes as designed, which I'm feeling pretty good that it will, offer silver to tighten a lot of these spreads. But also, let's say that you had, 5 rare silver ounces and you wanted to trade, and somebody else had a Silver Chopper Ben and you wanted to make a swap. having liquidity on things like that, so that if you have silver, while these premiums are high, I think it's difficult often if you have silver. Most people are just looking to go back to get a bid from the dealers, which varies depending on where you go. Now we've routed all of our orders to Miles Franklin and Andy, and we're going to continue sending things there, although we're starting to do some stuff ourselves. In fact, I'm really excited to get a lot of our favorite silver pieces. I mean, we've been buying some really cool coins at bars, and it's just like, wow, I bet people would love these. And I've been thinking, oh, it'd be fun to make videos, just show some of them and get a good deal. Hey, if you like them and you want to buy them, that we can have a good price. It's also interesting being here in Mexico, as it seems that a lot of the silver comes from a place called Taxco. And I wonder if Taxco and the Mexican and the silver capital of the world was doing silver before the COMEX even was invented. Yara, I'm not sure yet, but I get the feeling we could probably get silver from Taxco cheaper than the spot price, because the COMEX gets cheaper than spot price. When you think about all these feeds and how wide the spreads are, that's because there's all these middlemen, and JP Morgan and Jeff Curry are incredibly fat and disgusting and eat a lot of cake. They smear it over each other. And that's one of the reasons the spreads are so wide. I'm not saying that there aren't dealers that charge high spreads, but I mean, I've never gotten the feeling that it's as much the retail dealers, because they have the natural competition. If one charges $2 over spot, the other guy's charging $5 over spot, that kind of sorts itself out quickly often. But these are a lot of the things that SilverFest is about, where I've mapped out a lot of these ideas. A lot of the things that we talk about on the show, I have files and the ideas mapped out. It's just when there's 300 of them, sometimes you can't do them all. So I've been learning a lot this year about learning to bring other people in. We've had people helping, volunteering. We've started learning about hiring people. It's not as easy as I would have thought, but a lot of these things are new for me and similar. I that's why I try to explain silver as best I can, because I feel fortunate that I got into this even before the run up in 2011. Even though the way up was more fun than the way down, I think that's great experience that I think is going to serve me well going through this one, and is what I try and pass along. And the transition out of Wall Street into creating this, I've had to learn a lot about leadership and marketing, yet now the exciting part is that there's a lot of things I would love to do. And now we're just figuring out how to get the right people in place that can do things. And I think you'll see the difference in SilverFest this year versus last year. So certainly if there's any ideas you have, or if there's products you want, or maybe a way to improve some part of the silver industry, that's really how I look at it. And certainly I know everyone feels the frustration of silver being manipulated at times, yet when you ever read any of those stories about entrepreneurs who have done really well, I mean, the more broken something it is, the more there is to fix. And you go start fixing things and creating solutions, you can make yourself a lot of money. It took me a while to get the hang of it, although now it gets easier. And I don't know. I think these days, hopefully at some point, I'll be doing things other than making videos about silver manipulation, but teaching and sharing some of the things that have really come together a lot at the same time to help change my life and allow me to be here on a rooftop in Mexico rather than sitting on the New York Stock Exchange. So anyway, with that said, we'll be digging into all these things at SilverFest too. Well, the best part, less me talking, and really, I think we did this last year as well, but I think just from the experience we have, to be on a new level of really making it a community and getting people involved, especially I would say if there are people who are in the US and are thinking about leaving. I mean, what's your impression been coming down here to Mexico, where the cost of food is incredibly less?
Wow. You can get a really amazing dinner in Mexico for a drink price in Denver. Was my first day's kind of impression, and I've been here a couple of weeks now, and the acclimation process has taken a little while, but getting used to eating like literally the best food, and so it just feels like more nourishing. Like everything about the food and the prices here has been part on the top of my mind because I am motivated by tacos, and so I did come to the right place, but I didn't even know what I was missing until I got here. But just price alone wise, I mean, we fed 3 people as many tacos as we could eat last night for about $20, and that just seemed to me to be like kind of off the chain, because at happy hour at the taco place by my old house in Denver, I still couldn't get tacos for just me for that.
Yeah, and it's you feel
The
the
taco
the
index.
especially being here 4 or almost 5 months in Mexico now. I don't have to like count how many carbs are in something. I notice I eat less. Like you feel the difference in the food without Monsanto plastic in there, and it's just. But even deeper than that, where I just notice how so much of what I thought about what's the purpose, what are we doing here, why are we, why why does it seem like there's so many things struggling? But it goes back to a lot of the beliefs I held, which for me, growing up and going to Sunday school every week and thinking, all right, this is the way God wants me to do this. And then you get out here and we're really in the middle of a jungle and they have religion and different, but you just notice the different belief systems, similar to the way that a lot of people think Wall Street is always going to be in charge, always going to be in power. I mean, I guess they've been there for a while, although I think a lot of this accelerated in the 70s. I mean, I don't think this was what Wall Street was like in the 60s. And then you had things go off course. It was like Biff getting the sports almanac with Nixon taking us off the dollar. Then shortly after that, that's when CFTC comes along. That's when COMEX comes along. That's when you have stagflation. I think this was getting close to going off the tracks in 1980. It was close to going off the tracks again in 2011. It was very close to going off the tracks in February of this year. And I think the next time it's not coming back. We'll see if that turns out to be correct or not. Although all bad things come to an end too. And I know I think one of the things hopefully I've done well is not get myself into trouble promising a date and just phrasing things. Hey, this is. Because it's like when you're looking at something in advance, it's kind of hard to know. And then there's one moment and there it is. But perhaps more useful than trying to even nail the exact date, having lived through a good solid 10 years of spoofing, I think the most helpful thing that I've learned in the entire time isn't, anything about Rusty the Boss or Jeff Curry, as insightful as his knowledge can sometimes feel, or even Jeff Christian, who makes some enlightening comments from time to time. But for me, finally getting to the mindset where, and this, I'll tell you what, having a business come together, not living off my savings helped this a bit, but thinking of, all right, well, if the price is low, I'm fortunate I have income coming in now and I can buy more. I will say this. You may have heard it here or there, but I've not formally shared this, and there's a reason why that I cannot at this particular time. I'll look forward to the day that I can. Or who knows, maybe it'll just find us naturally. I've heard different versions of how this ultimately unravels. Now, who knows what accurately, but even before hearing that, and then certainly after hearing that, I mean, we talk about like unicorns coming out of left field if silver breaks $30, let alone $50. It was $50 back in 1980, and it was going higher had the Comex and CFTC's grandparents not rigged the thing back then. So we don't really know what it actually would have gone to. I mean, they said they eliminated people from buying. They cut out the buy side of the market. So we don't know what it would have gone to then, and let alone here we are 40 years later with hyperinflation. People are telling Joe Biden to go fuck himself at every sporting event possible. So, and it's like when you sit there, watch it, the people for 40 years, me for 10 or 12 or 11 years or whatever it's been. You don't want to think about, well, but what if everything that we've thought was correct? What if it is as manipulated? What if Jeff Curry is a dirtbag? What if Rostin Benham is fraudulent and that he refuses to address the crime that has cost a lot of people money? Let's say these things actually, we aren't imagining things in there. And at this point, I mean, I've removed any doubts from my mind. If you have some sort of fracture, which I think we're getting close to, yes, and let's go, Brandon. I think Brandon could even take on Emrach. He's that powerful. But when this finally happens, we'll leave aside when that will be. I don't think we're going to be talking about $50 or $100 silver. I mean, look at how much money these guys are printing, and we don't even know the real amount. So, but I'm sure Brandon can solve that. And how about we take a couple more quick questions here? I know my answers get a little long sometimes, but we do have that pre-party going, which I just will paste the link in the window again. So give me a few more questions. We'll do the lightning round. You would like to ask a question to Yara.
I saw a super chat up there too. Huh? I think I saw a super chat too.
Do we have a super chat? Let's see if we have a super chat. But fire your questions in. Yara, do you have a question?
Who's coming to the pre-party after party with us?
All right. That wasn't.
It's an open-ended question.
Yeah, I was thinking more of a silvery question.
Do I have silver questions?
I don't know if you had I was going to give you the first one here, but anyway, if you're going to come join us in the after party, I will mention we went to SilverFest last year. It's in that HopIn platform, which is kind of like Zoom. You can be there and join the room and talk and be on camera. If you want to just listen and type in the chat, kind of like similar to what you have on YouTube right now, you can do that as well. But come on in and make some new silver friends. I mean, we have the panels and all that stuff, but really, to me, the whole purpose is that people can get to know each other, make new friends. A lot of people do business and certainly if there are people who are, let's say you're in a situation where some employer is giving you a mandate to take that vaccine into your body, despite the inefficiency of it. And you're saying, well, I don't want to do that. And you're interested in getting a new source of income. There's a lot of companies that are doing well now and going to start to be doing even more weller. Mid-sentence, I was going to end that one. But whatever it is, I mean, these are good people. That's what I love about the silver industry. It's the opposite of Wall Street. So if you just want to make some new friends or join a silver company or something like that, or find a way to get involved. In fact, one of the things I love doing the most, because I found every way not to do it. So I have a lot of experience here, but matching what you love doing with your skill set in something that is right for you. And I'd love to help introduce anyone to somebody else that I can at SilverFest. This is for you.
There's a really great networking feature on the HopIn platform where you can actually make a private chat room with anybody else that is in the events. And you can do that from within any part of the platform. So if you're talking to somebody and you guys want to go and have a side conversation, you can create your own room and just take that talk. It's like walking outside and having a private conversation and then coming back in. But there's a lot of different ways that you can interact on the platform, and making friends is the best part. I made some great friends at SilverFest last year, and actually some of them popped into SilverFest 2 pre-party and were like, yeah, it's like the second time around, and it's really fun to get to reconnect, but it's a great place to make friends.
Plus, we will see if Jeff Curry shows up and teaches us, as Colin Gooch has illustrated, that he takes colloidal copper, which would make more sense. Who would you consider, TV Viewerski asked, the most underrated silver commentator? I don't know if he's underrated since he's a bit of a legend, but I'm very high Delta Red Rafi Farber of the Endgame Investor. I didn't know of him until last year, I think. So I think people like him when he comes on the show, and he's one of the smartest guys out there. Really good dude too. Fun guy, and excited. He'll be joining us for a bunch of the panels over the next 3 days. So Yara Bill Wood wants to know, what is your astrological sign?
I'm a Capricorn. Thank you for asking.
All righty. So she's a Capricorn. Any other quick questions before we hop into the SilverFest 2 pre-party to warm you up? You can bring your drinks, go easy, like just be mellow and peaceful and all that. But I just pasted the link in there again. So we're going to hold on. We're going to head on it over there shortly. Bill Holter. Yes, I'm a big Bill Holter fan. Bill, talked to him yesterday. Bill loved the promo video we did. It was great. We played it for him, and he was kind of like knocked out in like a good way. I think he said, "You beat them on every level." I was like, "Yeah, Silver Marlboro Man said I kicked Jeff Curry's ass on every level." That's my trophy already. So I feel, that's pretty damn cool. Fucking Bill Holter said I kicked JP Morgan's ass on every level. Like, that's,
my heart went.
I guess that's the best compliment I could get. I was kind of afraid of Bill Holter for some period of time. He kind of reminds me a little bit of my dad. So I was like, this guy gonna kill me. And then I actually went down to meet him when I was in Texas, which was fun. I thought he might shoot the guy in front of us for going too slow. I was like, Bill, put the gun away. But I love Bill, and I'm excited that he will be joining us. Been great getting to know him, and I was honored that he liked the video we made yesterday. If you have not seen it, SilverFest 2, what the heck? Let me see what the title of that was. Maybe we'll even post it in the link there. If you have not seen it, I think it might be the best video we've done on the channel yet. And I will post that link in here. Yara, what did you think?
It is my favorite video that we've made so far, and since we've been doing this, I've enjoyed all of them. So this was a new crescendo for me, and watching you do the editing to make that, it was like so much love and giggles went into it. We laughed really hard while making it, and I'm just honored to get to see the creative process that was behind that, because there was a lot of truth in there, but it's also really funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought it was done a couple times, but then I was rewatching it and thinking, I know how much the Jeffy brothers love attention. They just like, especially Jeff Christian, he just loves like getting railed on, apparently. Yara, can you confirm that there are times where like he said some really dumb shit, and I was like tempted to make a video, but I'm like not trying to be mean. Right. I really don't want to do that. And the one video where I got a shout out, I'm still like tempted to giggle at that one because there were so many funny things he said there. And a couple of inaccurate on purpose ones. But I mean, at least the way I look at it in the end is that it's like when someone surrenders, it's okay. But when they're still out there doing the crime and hurting people, I mean, I don't know that I've handled everything the right way, but I never expected to be in this position. But anyway, well, there you go. So I thought that him and Jeff Curry needed more airtime, so we provided it. Yara, I saw there was a question about silver jewelry in there, and I might show some pieces I got recently. I got my nice new silver chain here, plus my Tree of Life. That's the silver wrap on that. So we've been getting some really cool stuff. I got this ring here, which you can even spin it. which is pretty slick. Reminds me of that scene in The Golden Child where Eddie Murphy is acquiring the Sacred Cross dagger of Ayanti to save the Golden Child, who probably was a big fan of silver. And like I mentioned, we're starting to do a lot of new things, including silver jewelry. I mean, some of the pieces here are beautiful. You're crystal master as well. And we posted a few photos and people are saying, where do I get that? Where do I get that? So Yara, any thoughts you could add for the who asked here about jewelry?
It's like being a kid in a candy store for me, being a crystal lover and a silver lover down here in Mexico. And I am looking forward to sharing that with people because the power, you can take even if you don't believe that there are powers in things, if you just think if something makes me happy, then it's good and it's a good vibration. You know, silver jewelry makes people feel happy when they wear it, but more so than that, everything I've seen down here has been beautifully crafted, and we found some people who do some really amazing and unique and wonderful things. And I've always loved the arts and supporting artisans and taking something that I love so much, like silver coins and bars, and getting them wrapped and turned into something that is additionally an artistic feature by a craftsperson makes me feel like it's bringing a lot of my loves together. And to get to share that with other people is also something I'm looking forward to and figuring out the mechanics of, but that's less important. The more important thing is just to share the things that we love. And I don't know if anybody had shown, you know, a silver coin wrapped the way that we did with Silver Jesus on Twitter, and it made a big impact. And so I've been meeting different local artists who are wrapping things in their own ways, and it's just another part of the silver community and getting to share something I love with a new group of people. And I'm really trying to get silver as gifts and silver for women who aren't not yet into silver, because I think everybody would be if they knew. So I think it's a great kind of intro piece.
Yeah, and I guess the thing that's nice is, especially, I guess we've learned the beach pricing is kind of beach pricing at the end of the day. Although
everyone makes a living.
We're going to the source over there in Taxco. And it's been fun for me because, Yara, you mentioned about how it makes you feel where, well, I got the ring, you know, this ring, a bunch of other stuff. It was like, all right, well, there's however much silver there is. I don't know how to measure it if there's, you know, some of them have stones in them. Yet I stopped and I got a couple of these the other day, as last week. And I remember just went home and the thought that came to my mind, I was like, I just feel special, like looking at how it feels. And anyway, that's something that one of the things I'm excited about, sharing the coins that we found that we love, finding ways to bring the spreads down. So I guess that's what I started to say earlier, where you look at a lot of these entrepreneurs, they find markets that are broken, they fix these things. There's tons of opportunity. I mean, the producing miners, they get slightly below spot when they send it, you know, they pay the refinery. So I'm thinking, well, maybe there's ways that can be involved in some of these. Kind of all developed quickly. I never expected to have a YouTube show and talking about silver and know all these different people, and then have such a great audience that loves silver as much as I do. And I think getting the feeling is interested in getting involved. I get messages from some people who want to get involved in the silver industry. And so, Yara, maybe we'll make a note. I think we have I had a few adjustments in the schedule today, so maybe we can you get a pen for me, please? Maybe we can make a session about if anyone is looking to get involved in the silver industry, at least how you might be able to start talking to a few folks, and maybe there will be someone out there. I know we could use some help with some things, and I'm sure there are others too. And just imagine once Rossi's not around to tamp the price down one day, and really starts to rally. So how to get involved in the silver industry. So if I can help match anyone with somebody else who's looking for help, I would certainly be happy to do that. with that said, we are going to wrap up here and go join the party. We won't stay up too late tonight, but come on in. There's the link again. Join us in the pre-party. Come say hello, and then you can get rested up, and we will look forward.
I'd like to make just a quick note about HopIn and how to register. So if you were at SilverFest last year, you already have a HopIn account, in which case all you have to do is remember your password or reset it. But there is kind of two steps. If you have never done a HopIn event before, you sign up for a HopIn account, and then you need to register for the event. So they will send you a confirmation email to make sure you're really who you say you are. So make sure you check your email and confirm it so that you can actually register for the event and then be live with us in it. And if you come to the pre-party tonight, you might as well just register for SilverFest tomorrow. It's called SilverFest 2, the main event. And it will start with yoga and meditation bright and early with me in the morning. So, but definitely make sure that you confirm who you are and then make sure you register for the event, because just signing up for an account doesn't make you automatically entered.
All right. And you're definitely going to want to be entered, because we lined up a bunch of companies that are probably going to help us give away a lot of silver. So if you don't have an ounce, that's a good way to get started. Best way to do that is just bring a good positive vibe. Maybe if you're there to learn, then be a good learner. If you have some knowledge to share that knowledge, and excuse me, may end up with an ounce of silver. So with that said, thank you all for being here. Can't wait to hang out with a bunch of you the next couple of days at SilverFest. I think we're gonna have a great time. A lot of really fun, cool, knowledgeable people there. Plus, Cliff High has been talking about October 28th, which is tomorrow. I think he was mentioning there was some sort of new level of default with that Evergrande situation over the weekend, and he thinks something is going down on the 28th. We will see if that is the case, and whether it is or not, we'll be there to talk some silver with you. So again, join us in the after party. Link to that and SilverFest in the description below. And I will see you there, and I hope you all have a great SilverFest.